Okay, so let us continue where we left in the last class. So we have a pair of linear equations in their standard form. Now let us see how do we write the formulas that we obtained in the last lecture for cross multiplication method. So we start with x divided by, now what you do is you take this coefficient of y b1 c2 minus b2 c1. So you multiply this and then you subtract this b1 c2 minus b2 c1, b1 c2 minus b2 c1. Okay, similarly for y, what you do is you take the next coefficients c1 a2, c1 a2 minus c2 a1, c1 a2 minus c2 a1, and then in the end you have the constant 1 divided by, so this is this, so you take the next coefficients a1 b2 minus a2 b1, a1 b2 minus a2 b1. You'll get used to writing this thing very quickly when you practice more and more, but if you have difficulty in the beginning, then you can also first write one more thing, as you can start with x, leave its coefficient, start with the next coefficient b1 b2, so you write b1 b2 here and the next coefficient c1 c2. Then you go for y, and for y you already have c1 c2 here, so you write the next coefficients a1 a2, a1 a2, and then you go with the constant, you have a1 a2, then you have b1 b2. So first you can make this, and from here you can think of x divided by b1 c2 minus b2 c1, y divided by c1 a2 minus c2 a1, and 1 divided by a1 b2 minus a2 b1. So this is why the name of the method called cross multiplication. So you leave its own coefficients, and from the next coefficients you cross multiply. The first one is positive b1 c2 and the other one is negative minus b2 c1. So let us solve an example to get familiar with this method. We start with, let's say, x plus y is equal to 5. This is your equation 1, and equation 2 you have it as 2x minus 3y is equal to 4. Okay, so the very first thing that we do is write them in their standard form. So we have x plus y minus 5 is equal to 0, and 2x minus 3y minus 4 is equal to 0. So comparing this to the standard form, a1, a2, b1, b2, c1, c2. So what do we do now? Either we could directly write this thing. Let us try to write it directly. X divided by. So what do? You leave the x coefficient. You start with this. 1 multiplied by minus 4 is minus 4. So you have minus 4 minus minus 3 multiplied by minus 5 plus 15. So that will be minus 15. This will be equal to y divided by, so you leave this part y, you start from here, minus 5 multiplied by 2 minus 10 minus 4 multiplied by 1 minus 4. So you have minus of minus 4, and this will be equal to 1 divided by, so you leave the constant coefficients, you start with here 1 multiplied by minus 3 minus 3 minus 3 minus 2 multiplied by 1 2. So if you have difficulty in directly writing this process, you can first write it in this form. Let us quickly do that. You have x, you start with 1 minus 3 minus 5 minus 4, so b1 b2 c1 c2, then you write y and you have a1, a2, then you have the constant 1, and then you again repeat b1, b2. And from here you can do the same thing. 1 multiplied by minus 4 is minus 4, minus of minus 3 minus 5 is 15, so minus 15 is equal to y divided by minus 5 times 2 minus 10 minus of minus 4 times 1 minus of minus 4, and this will be equal to 1 by 1 into minus 3 minus 2 into 1 minus 2. So therefore we get x by minus 19 is equal to y by, this will be minus 6 is equal to minus 1 by 5. Therefore, if you take this there, you get x as 19 by 5 and you get y as 6 by 5. So it's always a good idea to quickly check if you got the right solution. So 19 by 5 plus 6 by 5, you get 25 by 5 is 5. That's fine. 2 times 19 by 5 will be 38 by 5 minus 3, 6, 18. 18 by 5. So 38 minus 18, 20. 20 by 5 is 4. So these solutions are correct. Okay. So just a quick review. You start with x and then you start with the next coefficients. So you take b1 multiplied by c2, this thing minus this multiplied by this, so you have it as here. Then you take y, then you start from here, you take this coefficient multiplied by this one minus this multiplied by this, and in the end you have 1 divided by a1 b2 minus a2 b1. So it goes crisscross. If you, in the beginning, you can start with writing this in this form. So you start with x, you write b1, b2, and then you write c1, c2, then you go for y, and c1, c2 will be followed by a1, a2, and in the end you have 1, and then it will be followed by b1, b2. And from this, then you can go into this method. Okay, so after some amount of practice, you will be able to go directly into this, but before that, first go into this, and then later on go into this.